Hello, I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review, and I want to thank all of our keynote speakers, expert moderators, panelists, and solutions sponsors for participating in this year's Insight Jam Live. This has been a big year with the launch of the InsightJam.com community site and the amazing growth of the Insight Jam YouTube channel, which now has over 500,000 subscribers. Much of this success is tied directly to the video events, podcasts, and panel discussions we have been producing, and none of that would be possible without the thoughtful participation of the many IT professionals who are generously sharing their expert insights for this latest jam. We are building Insight Jam to be a place to celebrate enterprise technology with best practices, expert analysis, and solution showcases. And we want all of you to join us there to keep the jam going into the new year and beyond. If you haven't joined Insight Jam, please do. And if you already have, take a moment to invite some of your colleagues. And again, thank you all for being here and enjoy this event.
Solutions Review presents Insight Jam, a social media community for enterprise technology. Hello and welcome back. Insight Jam Live, the 6th annual Strategies for AI Impact 4 Days of Thought Leadership. My name is Jonathan Paula, and I am really excited to welcome in our next group as we continue WorkTech Wednesday. We're discussing agent-driven enterprise, leadership, adaptability, and the future of work. Assembled a great team of experts from around the planet to discuss that. I'm bringing them in right now. Sevi, Andy, Nicholas, and Dan, welcome. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate your time in advance. Let's begin with some introductions. I've already said my name. Sevi, you've agreed to moderate at last minute here, so let's have you go next and tell the audience a bit about yourself and maybe your history in the ERP space.
Absolutely. And thanks again for the introduction, Jonathan. So, everyone, my name is Sevi. I run DAS Recruitment, a boutique recruiting agency focused around ERP and CRM recruitment. So I've been doing it for almost close to a decade now. And yeah, looking forward to getting to know this exciting topic.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for being here. Andy, over to you next.
Thank you very much for inviting me to attend. My name is Andy Pratico. I've been involved in ERP software for small to mid-sized manufacturers all my life. I've worked all over North America, and I have a published book on how to evaluate ERP software without losing your mind or your job.
Right on. Next up, Dan Aldridge. Welcome.
Yes, hi. Thank you very much. I'm the director of I'm a director at PCG, and I have almost 30 years of ERP software experience, mostly in manufacturing.
Excellent. Welcome back to the show. Glad to have you. This is your 3rd or 4th Insight Jam in a row, I think. Yes, and Sevi, we already talked to you. I'm sorry. Here we go. Nicholas, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. My name is Nicholas Kimler. I'm the CEO of Pipeliner CRM. I'm originally, you will see that, from Europe, from Austria, Vienna. So please forgive me my broken English. I definitely will try to be a little bit different than Arnold Schwarzenegger. So from the accent, today it's about the content that we are talking about. Okay.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, everyone, for being here. Really appreciate what we're going to talk about in the next hour here. Sevi, I'll let you kick things off with our first question, and I'll step out of the way and then catch up with all of you at the end of the show. So good luck.
Oh, absolutely. Awesome. All right. Well, to kick things off for our first question, before we go into it, the thing about AI agents and it being the really hot topic and technology that we're going to be implementing in 2025, and we're seeing a lot of tier 1 vendors use it, right? So, for example, today I was looking at a podcast, 20BC, Mark Benioff. He was sharing that they are not hiring any additional engineers going to 2025, and that's because AI agents have become more of the approach they're going. So, acting more velocity, and in this topic today, we're going to kind of kick things off. So the question that here is, how can businesses leverage AI agents in enterprise systems to drive efficiency without sacrificing the personal touch that they're known for? Andy, you want to kick things off?
Sure. Well, first off, I think what makes sense is to understand what AI is and what was never intended to do, and what it really is. It was never intended to mimic or replace human thoughts or actions, personal relationships. And the problem with that is that the real benefit, I should say, is that it allows people and skilled employees like yourself to invest more time focusing on what's most challenging, not losing the personal relationships.
Absolutely. I think, and to your point, right, it's not to necessarily replace workers, but giving us more flexibility to focus on what human workers do best, right, which is building relationships, right?
Basically, yeah, less time on mundane topics and more focused on relationship building.
Yep. Yeah, I think as far as and with agents, right? I think do you find that giving it some sort of personality to allow like workers to really feel that it's something that works best for them?
I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you to say that again to me, please.
Yeah, I was wondering, do you think that AI agents, like giving it that sort of personality? Because I think with workers, if they are using an AI agent,
more and more,
they might think of it's just like a chatbot, but giving it some sort of personality to make it feel like an avatar-like existence, to kind of keep it going.
Hey, we're all reading tons and learning more and more about AI agents all the time. And I was just reading an article yesterday, and it was interesting that more and more companies are not hiring Generation Z employees because they've lost the skill set of having relationships with humans.
Huh.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I want to jump in a little bit on that because with your first question, what you asked for are basic in that area of leveraging AI agents in enterprise systems. I think we have to understand first there is a big difference between process-driven and data-driven AI, or I would say automation, because you see enterprises in many ways are basically an understanding of business processes. They have established that. Or this is the difference to mid-size, small, and sometimes SMB market companies, because they don't know really about so much really defining business processes. But this is the base for everything. It starts with processes and then with data-driven automation. And I think there is this big difference between machine learning and AI. And as long as people don't understand in which direction it goes, they have wrong assumptions, and the wrong assumption leads you to wrong decisions. And the wrong decisions is wrong allocation of money and resources. So I would say if Mark Benioff said today he is not hiring any engineering, then I would say, well, that is not the right decision in my opinion. Why? Because you see why Altman has invested more than $1 billion right now, or raising over $1 billion to invest in further engineering. Yeah. So he can say, okay, I'm using all these people, but at the end of the day, there's a shift going on. And for enterprise systems, they have a leverage right now, what small businesses in many ways don't have. You see, small business very often are operating with instant or reacting of problems. Instant, yeah. Everything is fast, yeah. But the point is, when you want to have business processes, you have to define them first, yeah. That's number one. And this definition of step by step by step by step, someone has to do. I think here it starts. Yeah, this is number one. Our AI can do that. We are the biggest revolution, in my opinion, in the world right now, bigger than our internet, everything. Why? Because we have right now over 100 million people programming in this area. So it's exponential. Nobody can predict anymore what is coming. It's impossible, yeah, because it can pop up so many things. So I would say this is number one. Can we lose the touch of personality? It's not necessary, because you can bring the AI back to the person. Let's say you make the whole business process, and then you are just shooting over and say, now you have to call. There you could be very personal, in my opinion.
Nicholas, I really loved your comment there. Sorry, Dan, but I wanted to, I was waiting for you to say, I'll be back at the end of your sentence.
I'll be back.
I will be back. Yeah, good.
I should be right here. All There we go.
Yeah,
Dan,
so
did you want
Nicholas, I
anything?
wanted to kind of pull on that thread a little bit. Sorry, Sebi. Actually, it also follows what Andy said, is that they're not hiring as many of the Gen Zs because the expertise, guys like us, right, who've been in the industry a while and been in, say, let's say manufacturing, if you're trying to automate or introduce AI agents, what are they going to do, right? You don't want to automate or introduce an AI agent into a process that doesn't work.
Yes, exactly.
So that's what we start with always, and we do it from the perspective of very experienced people. That's why it's so important. You tell Gen Z, I just want something I can run on my cell phone. I don't want to deal with any kind of business process in an old system. Let's say what an AI agent can do is take the example of accounts payable, right? So in an enterprise system like an ERP system, agentic AI can actually pull a PDF off of an email and be instructed to enter data from that PDF into an invoice in an enterprise system, go and match it against a PO if it knows what the PO number is. It's probably also on the invoice, and even start to make decisions about what to do with that invoice, if it's either outside of tolerance or inside tolerance, right? So you need an experienced person to explain that process to the agent, even if you have an agent involved, right? An agent can take off on its own, great. But if you're automating or you're telling an agent to do a process that's not the correct process, then you got a big issue.
Yeah, I think therefore you see, or every one of us know this famous book from Jim Collins about good to great. Yeah, we all know that and we all love it. Yeah, and I think for the future is even more important to have the right people in the bus and then the right people sitting in the right row, because right now you need these people, the right people in the bus. If you have the wrong ones, therefore we will see a lot of changes in the structure of companies, who is making what kind of decisions, who is sitting there. And here the experts have an enormous leverage right now, in my opinion, in the future.
Yeah, I think it's to your point, having experience, like we heard it when generative AI came out with coding. It's similar to that similar thought process of if use entry-level software developers who are typically taking on technical debt, that's now going to be replaced by AI. However, the folks who are more experienced, have that architecture background, who can actually decide what to do with that type of information, that's still going to be very critical. So to your point, Nicholas, I completely agree. Getting the right people on the right bus is important, and then also experience is going to be very important there.
Yeah,
we'll see like what happens with Gen Z and like kind of how they adapt, because they'll be forced to, right? All right.
That's an interesting comment. They'll be forced to. So far, I haven't seen that happening.
Because we're at the beginning. You see, we have to be very realistic. I'm, as you know, Pipeliner CRM, so we are a CRM vendor. We are using 14 AI tools already. We were one of the first companies who put in really real AI for salespeople. I'm not talking about that right now, but the point is that our last week has been this great conference from AWS, as you know, in Las Vegas. You can go there and see the talks. Fantastic, yeah. And one of the things they showed was Q, or the Q, the new developer kit, yeah, Amazon Q, yeah. And we are testing that all, and thousands of others are testing it also, or millions, I don't know how many people, but a lot, yeah. And the interesting thing on that is it is there, but it's not there, yeah. You can do some stuff, but we are deeply rooted in Python in the backend. And in that moment, you cannot use the developer kit. Q is everything doing for you. What is cool is it can do some test cases that you don't write any longer test cases or make some documentation, what saves a lot of time. But at the end of the day, it's a process, and I think we have to be realistic. It's coming, but it's not there yet. Yeah, but we can see already where it's going. It's like, I remember, or I have been originally when I was still in Europe. So I'm here right now, 13 years in the US. I built the pipeline of CRM. It's great. But the point was, when I was in Europe, I brought back one of the first iPhones, 2007. It's not so long a time. Yeah. And interesting is, when I brought the first iPhones back to Europe and I opened it up and used it, one of the core functionality of Steve Jobs was not there. Copy and paste. But copy and paste was really, in the first version, was not there in the smartphone. Yeah. But
That's a big one.
everybody was complaining and saying, hey, this is the number one thing of Apple. Why it's not there? But you see, thousands of application has been written for, and this is what happens right now with the agents. In my opinion, it's coming. It's not there to Andy's point, but we will see that right now rapidly. Boom, and it will be faster than we expect, in my opinion.
Yeah, it would be like we're all going through that change management process, whether we like it or not, and it's up to us to really lean into it. So that kind of moves me on to a second question, which is, as AI agents take on a more operational and decision-making role, how can leaders ensure that human creativity and judgment remain central to business strategy? Dan, any thoughts?
Sure. Yeah. So in the manufacturing arena, I think it's very exciting what's possible with IoT devices, for instance, on the shop floor. I work a lot with manufacturing execution systems and ERP systems and how they kind of interplay, and also quality management. So an agent could basically go through quality checks. Something gets out of tolerance, make an adjustment. And basically, those are all the kind of the grunt things, that are going on the shop floor. So the system, the AI agent, can make course corrections based on quality data. Let's say something's getting out of tolerance, adjust the machine, things like that. That's not what you want the human doing, right? You don't want the human down there looking at the machine and saying, this is the readout that I'm getting from the machine, adjust the machine this way. What you want to do is have the human look at patterns that even an AI agent can give you patterns, right? So it can produce a report of the today and what's out of tolerance and where it's out of tolerance, which machines, things like that. And then a human, a design engineer, somebody like that looking at the process can redesign or look at the whole process and make changes in how a product is made, for example. I think that's a really nice way of kind of marrying the capabilities of both of those types of people and keeping the creativity of the human. But the human is at this level looking at the whole process and saying, we need to redesign this product to be run more efficiently, for instance.
I see it very similar. I see it are like layers right now coming on validation. We need layers of validation and fine-tuning, constantly enhancing, or if everything is correct, because you need someone who's saying, oh, this production is from the robotic coming in this way. And then you say, there is a little failure there. And now we have the same similar system, but it needs someone who is fine-tuning and validate that. I think that would be an amazing job for some people, are really to be diving deep and saying, here we can a little bit like this is the great news for manufacturer companies, because manufacturer companies have in the years optimized their processes always a little bit. I always use the Porsche engine, one of the best engines in the world in the car. Why? 100 years fine-tuning, every time a little bit better, and this is what will happen. So for experts, this will be great. You can make a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great for recruiting, right, Sevi? I mean, you get into this in manufacturing. I mean, there's a serious skill shortage.
Yes.
Yeah.
In manufacturing that existed way before agents. It's something that's been out there for a long time, and this is a way of dealing with that, skill shortage, and also upskilling people, so that, might be another thing you guys might be interested in, is upskilling in your workforce. And how do you change them from being somebody who's just grunt looking at results and entering things to interpreting things and designing new things?
Yeah, absolutely. How you see that? Because there is not when we have a lot of people, and sometimes you need people. They are not as good as others to bring the dots together. But this is the future, bringing the dots together. How you see that the challenge? How you can bring that to some persons? Otherwise, they will be extinct, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I
So
think
there's hope for us old guys.
Exactly. Well, it's like reshifting the responsibilities, right? At the end of the day, like I think a lot of these with agents coming into play, they're taking over more of the mundane work, and then having experienced professionals, especially in the manufacturing side, as you mentioned, Dan, is critical to be able to make use of it, because AI agents they aren't making sense of like the why behind the bigger picture. They are just simply delivering the information, the insights. It's up to leadership to execute on those insights, create actual long-term strategy, data-driven decision-making from that,
Yes.
and actually use it, right? So I think, when it comes to human creativity and judgment, it's going to be, I think, more important than ever to have folks like actually know how to make sense of all this different information that can be easily accessed now because of AI.
Yes, absolutely. It's a critical time right now for making real good leadership decisions.
Mhm.
Because if you are coming too late, it's over. I don't know who said that, our famous word, but our life will punish you if you come too late. And this is for a company. You cannot say, oh, maybe next year we should do a little bit in our company, because you have to learn. It's not like you implement the process instantly and it works for you. Yeah. But if not, you will be gone because it's so fast. This is amazing. So you have to make these decisions top down as a priority. And some people don't understand still. They think, oh, yeah, this is a hype. This is not a hype.
And it's ever changing. It changes so fast. I mean, probably this time last year we were talking about how you don't need to be a programmer anymore coming out of school. You need to be a prompt engineer, right? Yeah. Now you don't need to be a prompt engineer because that's obsolete with an agent, right? An agent is that you tell it English. You tell it English and you say, here's your task. Yes. Go out and book my reservation. Yes. You've got complete autonomy. So where is the programmer in that? Yeah. It's making inferences and it's not following any kind of programmatic instructions or anything like that.
Well, that's exactly right, Dan. And and I'll be clear to everyone. My expertise in AI is not anywhere close to the three of yours. I'm more of an operational person, but I mean, I sometimes wonder. I mean, we're talking about what the possibilities are, and Dan's mentioning about programming. I mean, now all you have to do, or it's getting close to the point, all you have to do is ask your ERP system, how many parts do I have that are under X on stock, and it immediately gives it to you. Yeah. You don't need as much programming as we used to need, but I'll tell you one of the things that really concerns me, and you mentioned us old guys, Dan. I'm afraid I'm
not Sevi, but
no, not Sevi. He's the young fella. No question about that.
Young fella, that's true.
That's very true. But
or Nicholas.
The joke about we were talking about Mr. Schwarzenegger or the Governor. At what point do we get to everything like it is in those movies, like Terminator, where they actually do the thinking for us?
In my opinion, absolutely, Andy. In my opinion, this is right now moving a little bit from our discussion in a different direction, and I don't know if we should do that. But the point is, a lot of the problems that we have today cannot be solved any longer from one person, one country, one government.
Right.
Yeah. And so maybe AI gives us much better decision processes for the future, because it's so complex. It's so many things that we cannot handle that anymore. And so this I can see, but you see, I see a lot of companies coming back to really what companies should do. I see a lot of companies, when we talk to them, they still sit in their car, they have a navigation system, but they use maps. And it's and I always say, hey guys, you have a navigation system, why you don't use that? You see? And so I strongly believe people have to forget what they have learned. It is complete. It is good to know, but we have to erase that in some form because we need an open new mind to this. This is changing. This is really radically changing everything. And this is radical. Yeah? I think we have so many radical changes in the last couple of years. Think about COVID and forget if it was a sickness and all the mistakes has been done. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how COVID has changed the behavior of people. This is changing radically too, because there will be people not needed anymore. Yeah, what we do with these
Yeah.
people.
Well, about 5-6 years ago, I was in Las Vegas, and I asked for Uber,
Yeah.
and they asked me, "Are you okay if it's an autonomous vehicle?" And I went, "Yeah, sure." So they came up, and my goodness, how long ago was that a dream? But now you see people, women putting their makeup on while they're driving on the freeway because they don't need to be watching the road anymore, or men actually falling asleep. So at what point do we become useless?
Yeah.
It's an interesting point, and I think the principle remains the same when it comes to like any digital transformation project, which is change management and understanding why we're doing what we're doing. So in digital transformation, right, it's always about relearning, unlearning, and learning new skill sets. But now with AI and agentic workflows, we have to apply the same principle and constantly take that feedback and review it as well. Okay. So I know we have a question that did come in from Kyle Grant, which is, what AI tools should an implementation analyst start to get experience in?
Oh, good question.
Yeah. Anyone have any insight on this one?
Yep. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I'm using a couple of different ones. First of all, what I use for just asking immediately, I love Ninja AI. I don't know if you guys know that. It's a great tool because it combines different AIs and gives you the link, what is important to the source of the information. And so every question, I did that even for this, or definitely for this webinar. Yeah, I put all the questions in and just tell and said to the Ninja, give me the response, what it is. And boy, I can tell you for this question right now, question number 2, I had 10 points. Yeah, immediately talking points. Yeah, and so this makes it much richer what we can do today. Yeah, it doesn't replace me, but I would use Ninja. I don't know what you guys are using. Yeah.
Cloud from Anthropic. That's one I use. I use ChatGPT quite often on the paid version as well.
Ninja, yeah. But this is why I like it. Or they have 4 different.
Oh, they have all the integrations with it as well.
Yeah.
There's this search engine. It's called you.com. That's been coming up. Pretty popular. See it on my Instagram ads all the time as well.
You.com, did you say, Sevi? Is that one letter?
You, as in you.
Oh, you. Oh, okay.
Yeah. You get a car.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
Well, you should probably also, I would add to that, you should probably also learn the individual tools that are within the whatever system you're using, right? So if it's an ERP system for SAP, it's Joule, it's Infor, it's generative AI, Microsoft, it's Copilot. Any of those things that are going to sit to the side of when you're doing your daily work, you need to understand how those work when you're doing an implementation. And there's also some implementation accelerator type tools. There's process, is it called process mining? Yeah, process mining. So that will assist, and that I think that has an AI component to which processes are being used and which need to be modified, which need to be kept, those kinds of things.
So processes, a new one for agents where you can do that. Beamer.ai. I don't know if you know Beamer.ai. And
Spell that,
It
please.
changes every day.
Yeah.
Nicholas, what was that?
It's a great business opportunity. I feel like, especially in the
How do you spell that?
Beamer.ai.
Like BEMER?
BEAMER.ai. Beamer.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Got it.
And I think the point is what was last week announced from AWS. What is amazing, in my opinion, was that you cannot create one agent. Now it starts that you can create an agent. Think about that, because let's say you want to open up a coffee shop in an area, and you have a plan to roll that out or to nationwide. And one agent is for you are doing all the work for finding the best location. One agent. The other agent is finding maybe the employees that you need for this, what you want to accomplish. The third agent makes the mathematics and the business concept, what it costs. And all of this together, there's only three, but you can make endless agents. And this will give you the best results for your business decision, what to do, where to do, how to do. And I think that is what will revolutionize some businesses and minimize the risk factor, in my opinion, too. Yeah,
Yep, absolutely. I think also to add to that, you don't need to be technical, so to speak, to encourage to go about creating a digital workforce anymore. You can just be like me and be able to create agents to do the daily task or whatever it is that you want them to do. And it is interesting on how the workforce will change from that, because a lot of an entirely different discussion topic, which is using virtual assistants and the offshore nearshore model from a cost reduction standpoint. Is it how will we adapt over the next couple of years? But, okay. So kind of shifting gears a bit, in our next question, which is an interesting point, which is what are the biggest barriers businesses face, particularly in the SMB segment, when integrating AI enhanced systems, and how can they overcome these challenges? Nicholas?
Well, definitely to overcome securities, responsibilities, consistencies in all of that. The patterns to overcome this is guidelines. Yeah. I think right now, one is definitely the mindset is the number one. Yeah. The mindset is really, you have to take that away, because the mindset is everything. It can be, in my opinion, we are in the best time ever, because it's amazing what is happening worldwide right now. And I see the glass not half empty, I see it half full. And in our company, we are working hard on getting a positive mindset, because that helps that people are approaching problems differently. Yeah. And each one is a challenge right now and not an obstacle. It's a challenge. Okay, we can handle that. Yeah, we can do this. It is possible to overcome these problems. And therefore, the pattern comes from a mindset. The pattern is correlated to a mindset. And so we have to change the mindset of the people. And we are all in this together. This is showing AI. Guys, I feel I'm so excited about that. Maybe the world is changing for good. Yeah. Why? So many animals that we see around us, they give us signals that we have to have a we. We are in this together. And I think the pattern is number one, the biggest barrier. And then when you're an SMB, my goodness, yeah, you have to sit down. What are your processes? Yeah. It goes
Right.
back.
Especially in the SMB segment, where I think you have a lot of stakeholders who are really caught up in their day-to-day jobs. Like enterprises, they typically have a dedicated organization or function to this, rather and SMBs, it's more of they're more budget conscious, and also less likely to want to adopt. So to your point, Nicholas, change management, wanting to have this idea of like leaning into these new technologies, and it's a pattern disrupt. Absolutely. Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to follow that same point about the business processes, because I mean, frequently what an SMB will struggle with is the structure of those business processes to begin with. And I think that a digital transformation, a business transformation, which is even more broad and more strategic in nature, is something that they should be doing probably, and not necessarily focusing on AI agents yet, right?
Yes.
Maybe get those basic building blocks in place, understand how the organization runs best, and then start to automate tasks and things with agents. I just think it's kind of a distraction in a way. When you have a large organization and enterprise, right, they've already been thinking about this thing for years, right? So LLMs have been coming, all AI's been coming for a while, and this is another flavor of it that gives it more capabilities, but it's not something they haven't addressed before. They're thinking about it. An SMB, on the other hand, may be not fully baked on all the processes to begin with, and maybe they need to prioritize. I'll say prioritize, because soon after that they need to start thinking about agents, because agents are coming, right? It's going to dramatically change the way they're working. But I would say get it sort of nailed down how they're working, and how they can be most profitable, and how they can challenge in their markets and grow before they start worrying about agentic AI.
No, that's a super valid point. In my opinion, it adds to what you said, Dan. In addition to this, that you have garbage in, garbage out. When you have bad data, yeah, the AI, the agent produce probably completely wrong results. Yeah, think about if you have hundreds of duplicates, what a lot of SMB market companies have. Yeah, they don't know about their contact, account, lead, opportunity data, and whatever. Yeah, and you start with that. Okay, what will be the result? And we have seen this craziness without, or get my point in that, with COVID, because you see, the problem was not the sickness. The problem was that the data were corrupt. I have a direct contact to someone who was working in a hospital as a high nurse, yeah, high position, and there were a lot of people are at that period of time dying, but not on COVID, but they were tested as COVID. One was a motorcycle accident. He died on a motorcycle accident, but he was immediately qualified as a COVID death. Yeah, why? Because the hospital got money.
That's right.
Corrupt data. Think about that for the agents in the future. My goodness, what kind of wrong decisions can be made on SMB market if your data is corrupt? So get your data clean. Start with that. Otherwise, you will be extinct.
Absolutely.
Right. It has two benefits, actually. It has two benefits, right? The cleaning of data. It's feeding of AI correct information to make inferences.
Absolutely.
But it's also just cleaning up the data in a system that's there before, right? Just correcting all that information. And it feeds the ERP or whatever enterprise system you're talking about. CRM is a good example. But if you take that example of customers that I heard, you take that forward and you say, okay, there are 8 or 9 different business partners that are defined for the exact same company. They all have their own credit limits. You start invoicing all of these people. They're really all the same organization, right? And you start making inferences. You can get an agent in there that says, I'm going to change their credit limit or block them but it's only one of 7 and there's 8 more. You know what I mean? So that's the sort of issue with, that's a dual issue, right? It's an issue with data just in general, cleaning up master data in general in the system, and also having agents make decisions. This is a really scary thing. Yeah. He shuts off all of these customers because they're over their credit limit, and those are all good customers. So you ruin the relationship with those customers because your agent went and shut them all down. You know what I'm saying? So it gets even worse if you don't clean up your data, is my point.
Yeah, no, you're
About
Yeah, I
is
think
you already mentioning about the Gen Z issues and lack of personal skills and things like that. Inversely, it's really interesting that some of us old dinosaurs that do have some of those personal skills are becoming even more valued because it's becoming more of an exception than the rule of being able to actually evaluate whether or not this customer should truly go on credit hold or not. It's not just logic. There's emotional relationships and continued relationships that you want to make sure you stay with. The other thing about and it was like you were saying, AI requires a ton of data, tons of data set to see the trends. At what point do we overstep our boundaries regarding personal privacy laws?
sure.
I mean, going back to the Terminator movie and all that kind of stuff. At what point, and I totally understand the value and the benefit, and I agree with all of you. But at what point? I mean, is it going to be this generation or the next generation that we've gone too far?
We'll see. Everything is coming faster and will be
Faster and faster. Yeah.
faster and more will be more some good boundaries and regulations. Like I live in Los Angeles, okay? If I have in my backyard a helicopter, I can start the helicopter. I cannot go and fly. Yeah, I have some regulations. Yeah, even if I had enough money to do that, still I cannot do that. The same will be in some form. We have right now GDPR, we have HIPAA, we have our ISO 20001, and there will be other stuff coming our way. Yeah, or that will give us our guidelines and rules and regulations. But before we do all of that, we have first to train and to help our people to understand all of this. They still are be so behind of this. Our education system in school is completely outdated, in my opinion. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this is faster. This is like people still learn something what I've learned. I'm born 61. Yeah, so I'm turning 64 right now. When I see the curriculum, not a big change. They are learning the same. Wow, but the world has changed radically. Yeah. And so in our companies, we have to invest more in training and in development, training the people, yeah, training them, constantly speaking, and updating. This is a given, in my opinion. Yeah.
absolutely. I think to your point, and kind of leads into our next question, which is like, how can leaders like upskill their workforce and ensure employees remain engaged and adaptable? But to kind of answer again, like chime in here where on the last question, which is, I think businesses, leaders, they need to just embrace it, and it comes back down to having software implementation service firms help be a piece of educating, like education. I think is like a big thing, like relearning that the benefits, like what's in it for them. But yeah, to your point, we can move on to the next question, which is again, what steps can leaders take to upskill their workforce and ensure employees remain engaged and adaptable? Dan, you want to chime in there?
Yeah, sure. So they obviously they have to educate them on what's coming. You know what functions, what use cases there are for agents, agentic AI, and I think that they need to educate them on the high level processes and concepts behind them. So, for instance, if an AI agent is going to be taking over AP invoice processing, why not train them very carefully on finance and accounts payable, and what are the concepts behind that, so that run a business, so that when an agent starts taking over, that what it's doing, and also at what points you need to introduce a human into the process, because you don't necessarily want that agent making processing decisions or making high level decisions on your behalf.
Yeah, I think also, in my opinion, what we have to bring to all our people and employees, but also to everyone, that the soft skills will be much more a demand than the hard skills, because the computer can do that better than us. But the problem with that is it is cold, like bureaucracy. It's in and out. You have a visa or you have no visa. You have this document
Logic.
or not. Yeah, it's in and out. There is no gray zone. Yeah, we Austrians are a little bit different. Yeah, in Austria, everything is possible. Yeah, because it's like this was the Austrian Empire. It was growing by marriages. Yeah, not by force, not by power, not by war. It was growing by marriages. Therefore, everything was a little bit possible. Yeah. But the soft skill in the future is important, because the machine has no empathy. The machine has no empathy. Yeah, you cannot train the machine to have empathy. Yeah, it's telling you, oh, you have a mistake. Yeah, boy, you're a bully then. Yeah, but people have empathy, and this is only one soft skill, and we have to help. Besides the knowledge, that is 100% of one side of the coin. But the soft skills are, in my opinion, in the future, very, very important for leadership and everything.
I completely agree that needs to be a focus with new hires and new employees, the soft skills. But that really comes with experience, and with the way things are going, that's very, very challenging.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I think that what's really good is educating the people on what the possibilities are. Like Dan was mentioning, in the manufacturing industry, and that's the industry I'm in as well. Things like planning and scheduling, streamlining routings, costing simulations, anything that has trend analysis over a long period of time, that the human can then evaluate and see the anomalies and be reactive instead of, be proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's being able to articulate the benefit. So, like for businesses, the ones who are unwilling to change or have more resistance to embracing this type of technology, educating the workers on, hey, this is going to save you time. Like you will, if you lean in, you will be productive in getting your work done. At the end, hey, if you have your yearly review and you're shown to be more productive, it's more likely that you'll probably get that raise, right? So just like being able to articulate those type of benefits.
It's the combination. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Sorry. I have also a radical idea it's not an idea, just in the thought process, what I think in the future, because the point is, like in the Roman Empire, or then even in the medieval, they had over 180 or more holidays. Yeah. Right now, we were boxed in the last 50 years in boxes where people are sitting from 8 to 5 or whatever. Yeah. And this is changing rapidly. Yeah. So maybe there is this flexibility that you have high intelligent people, but they can learn differently. And we have to learn to the people. We have to train them differently. Maybe flexibility for your job in that area, what the business is doing, you need total flexibility. That means you have to be every time when you are on duty available. Okay, but the rest you can do something different, yeah, because you are the expert in this area. And so this is all changing, and we need to change our teams, yeah, that they have to think differently, yeah. And if they don't do that, they will fall out of the companies very fast. We will see that. And there will be maybe some turmoils. Yeah, could be that some people very upset in society because they will lose all their jobs.
I was going to say it's the combination of both those soft skills that Nicholas has been describing, as well as these new AI logical systems. You have to be able to utilize the data, the anomalies that are being exposed, but then still use the human skills to make the best decisions. And that's we talked about Gen Z a few times now. That's what's killing that whole generation, is that they don't even know how to communicate anymore. How often do you see a Gen Z pick up the phone? It's always texting, right?
Absolutely.
It boils also to the change that is important. Don't feel to be entitled for everything. Take responsibility.
Totally. I love that. What a word! What a word! Entitlement. I mean, that. I was just one last thing. I was chatting with a client last week, and they asked me to, not to go into specifics, but they asked me to talk to their IT contractor about a specific topic on their database, etc. And I sent the fellow an email. I told him my thoughts. He sent me back an email, and then I said, "Well, listen, let's get on the phone and let's discuss it." I asked him 6, 7 times.
Wow.
Let's get on the phone and discuss it. And he refused to.
Wow. Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah. No, this is shocking. Yeah. This is, you see, the entitlement is one thing, and the other one is really it boils down right now, when we speak about our ethical components and stuff like that. Come on, live it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Be real. Be a real person. Yeah. And therefore, what you bring in, and in my opinion, everything comes, in our understanding, gratification after you have done something and not before you have something. Yeah.
Exactly.
And gratification is coming really strong with AI, because the computer will do something. Okay, what you have done, what kind of responsibility you saw, maybe there was popping up something and you have to do something and you did because you feel like, oh, yeah. So this is all radically changing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the next couple of years, like how organizations adopt to it, and then roll out what the new normal looks like.
Exactly.
So, absolutely. Yeah. So I want to go into some takeaways. I know we have a few minutes here until we get to the top of the hour. So I want to start with Dan. What are your final takeaways, on this conversation? Oh, you're on mute.
You've never sounded so better, Dan.
Oh,
you have to.
Oh, I said there's hope for us old guys yet. Wow. Yeah. So seriously, I think that we really do play a role, people with experience that understand business, that understand processes, in kind of defining what this new world looks like. Obviously, it's coming along, and it's coming along quickly. And I think even we could be getting to that inflection point, like Andy, you kind of hinted at it. How far does this go? Because basically you're talking about weighing whether you give these agents responsibility to make decisions on your behalf, and you introduce risk at that time, and then you also introduce danger, because it could do things like log into your computer and delete all your files, stuff like that, right? So there has to be some guardrails on it. So, but anyway, I'm just so happy that I'm an old guy and I'm still useful.
Yeah, I think, just as a quick takeaway on my end, it's going to be very important for cross generations to work together. To your point, Dan, I think having the experienced person and the younger worker to work together to be able to make sense of like all these different things that are coming about.
Yeah,
absolutely. Nicholas, how about you?
Oh, I'm super excited about the future. I feel right now we are in an unbelievable time. First of all, you can see that with the numbers of tourism, it was growing again by 11%. That means the whole world wants to travel. They don't want to have wars. They want to interact. They want to communicate. That shows what AI is also doing, because it brings all together. It's like, come on, get off this bullshit away. This little Earth that we have, we figured it out. There is nothing out there. I haven't seen any aliens so far, so I know it's cold out there and it's dark, so let's focus on this world. We need peace, we need trade, we need to come together, we want to travel and everything. And think about the series that are probably all of you guys have seen, or maybe Suits in the TV series in New York, a beautiful one. It's an old one and they have a remix right now. It's coming out. And the cool thing on that is Harvey has an assistant, this beautiful, good looking red hair, yeah, Donna. But Donna is not replacing Harvey. but Donna is doing all the work for him. She's telling him or what to do, who is meeting with him, organizing everything, blah, blah, blah. This is what I see the future. We need a Donna, yeah? And Donna will help us to have a better life if we share that. And we can, if we're smart, and the AI will tell us why you're fighting. That doesn't make sense. They have resources. They have these beautiful buildings over there. You can see that, yeah? So they will show us our inefficiency as humans and will tell us, hey, change is coming.
That's a great comment.
That's
an
amazing,
exceptional
actually.
comment. I like it.
I'll just make my little quick statement at the end here. First off, Sevi, I thought that your statement of cross-generational eras working together, pros and cons, knowing the benefit of each and migrating that towards a better future was beautiful. And I also wanted to say that I had no idea I was going to learn so much about AI today from you three brilliant individuals. And I really wanted to thank you for inviting me.
Likewise. No, it's been a great one.
Thank you.
All right. So we'll toss it back to Jonathan. Thanks again for having us here.
Absolutely. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure listening in on this conversation, especially as someone from the younger millennial generation. But in the few minutes we have left, I'd love to invite each of you to promote your company solution, a podcast, a book, whatever you want to send the audience to. But as we are short on time, do keep it brief. Nicholas, we'll start with you. 20 seconds or so. What do you want to send the audience?
We are a CRM tool for mid-size and bigger companies. So it's not for the smaller ones. It's really where you have business processes. We are right now from Panelists rated at #1. I'm very excited about our selecthub.com. It is the rating. Pipeliner CRM, easy to find. We are doing really everything on business processes, focusing mainly on sales. And I think right now it's really exciting. Check it out. And we can help you to make your company efficient. And when it's efficient, it becomes basically very, very clear, productive. And when it becomes productive, it becomes profitable. So if you want that, you need something in that area.
Excellent. Thank you. Dan, where would you like to send the audience?
So we're PCG. We are a business transformation and ERP implementation firm, and we specialize in Infor solutions and NetSuite as well. We have 2 websites, pcgservices.com and asmartfactory.com, which is our smart factory solution.
Thank you very much for being here. Always appreciate it. Andy, quick plug for whatever you'd like to promote.
Well, I mentioned I've been in the business. Well, I think somebody mentioned a few decades. I just realized I've been in the ERP business for SMB manufacturers now for 44 years, if you can believe it. I also mentioned I have a published book called How to Select Your ERP Without Losing Your Mind or Your Job. But the one thing that, I do work with Infor products as well, a different target market than Dan, but smaller manufacturers. But I make a promise to everyone I work with that if the Infor products are not a fit in functionality or budget, I will always point them in the direction of which other systems are better for them.
Well, thank you very much. And Sevi, real quick, where would you like to send the audience?
Absolutely. So I specialize in recruiting specialists implementing ERP or CRM software, whether it's permanent direct hire or if you're about to embark on a digital transformation project and you want that in-house expertise, connect you with talent on that end as well. Either staffing for contract or permanent, again, direct hire.
Excellent. Thank you, one and all. It's been a pleasure having you here over the last hour. I'd like to thank you again for your expertise and our audience for their attention. If you'd like to dive deeper into this topic and learn all about enterprise technology, please head over to our always-on community, insightjam.com. Or you can stay tuned because just a short minute, Dan Aldrich here is going to change his shirt and lead a keynote on upgrading legacy ERPs to the cloud. You don't want to miss that. Until next time, though, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to my panelists again, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
For video highlights, replays, and more, visit insightjam.com.